This is OwlUp, where learning happens in minutes, not hours. For a deeper journey, explore all our courses at owlup.co. Now, let's dive in. Welcome to Chapter 1 of The Secret Lives of Nutrients. In today's episode, titled The Unexpected Power of Fiber, we'll uncover the fascinating world of fiber and explore the different types and their essential functions in our bodies. So, grab a snack, get comfortable, and let's dive in. Right now, in this very moment, tiny fibers you can't even see might be quietly shaping your mood, your energy, and your long-term health. Yet most of us eat barely half of what our bodies are wired for. So why does this almost invisible nutrient have such an outsized impact? Most of us think of fiber, when we think of it at all, as the bland supporting actor on the plate, the side salad, the brown bread, the good-for-you box on the shelf. But zoom in a little, and fiber starts to look less like a background extra and more like a control panel quietly tweaking how your body responds to almost everything you eat. It shapes how quickly a carb-heavy lunch hits your bloodstream, how much cholesterol ends up floating around after breakfast, and what kinds of chemical messages your gut microbes send upstairs to your brain by mid-afternoon. Different types of fiber even specialize. Some thicken meals into a slow, steady release. Others travel farther, becoming fuel for bacteria that pay you back in protective compounds. In this episode, we'll unpack how that overlooked roughage becomes one of the most versatile levers you can pull for metabolic, heart, and even mental health. So why are we still missing the mark by so much? Part of the story is how modern food is engineered. When grains are milled and fruits are strained or juiced, the fibrous scaffolding gets stripped away, leaving you with the tasty highlights, but not the structure your body expects. It's like reading only the headlines of your diet and skipping the full article. Add in grab-and-go options, ultra-soft breads, and healthy snacks that lean on protein and sweeteners but skimp on plants, and it's easy to see how that daily gap quietly widens. Yet closing it doesn't require a radical overhaul, just a few strategic upgrades. If you zoom in on what happens bite by bite, fiber changes the entire meal experience inside your body. Start with the basic problem. Most modern foods are engineered for speed. White bread, juice, pastries, even many healthy bars move through your system like headlines scrolling by. Fast, attention-grabbing, and gone. Fiber slows everything down just enough for your internal systems to keep up. One way it does this is through viscosity, how thick your partially digested food becomes. Some fibers swell and turn meals into a gentler, thicker mixture. That shift in texture means your stomach empties more slowly, so the sugars and fats in a meal arrive at your small intestine in a steady stream instead of a rush. Your pancreas and blood vessels respond more calmly, and your brain gets a clearer, more consistent signal about fullness. People often report, without quite knowing why, that higher fiber breakfasts keep them level through the morning instead of crashing at 10:30 a.m. Another path runs much farther along the digestive tract. Certain fibers escape digestion entirely until they reach the large intestine, where resident bacteria get to work. They break these fibers down into short-chain fatty acids, SCFAs, like butyrate, acetate, and propionate. Those small molecules don't just stay in the colon. They're absorbed, recirculated, and interact with receptors in the gut wall, liver, and even immune cells. That's one reason higher fiber diets are consistently associated with lower markers of chronic inflammation and better insulin sensitivity in clinical studies. Importantly, not all fibers behave alike. Viscous ones are the heavy lifters for thicker stomach contents. Fermentable ones are the favorite fuel of microbes that excel at making SCFAs. More rigid, non-fermentable fibers contribute bulk, stretch the gut wall in healthy ways, and help waste move along on schedule. A bowl of steel-cut oats, an apple with the skin, and a serving of lentils each nudge different levers, even though nutrition labels may show similar grams. This is also where whole foods pull ahead of isolates. When you eat an orange instead of drinking its juice plus a spoon of added fiber, you're getting a bundled package. Diverse fiber types, intact cell walls, water, and a constellation of plant compounds that appear to enhance how those fibers behave. It's less like flipping one switch and more like dimming a whole row of lights to create the environment your body expects. Think of how different your afternoon feels after a big bowl of ramen versus a chickpea-loaded grain bowl. Same total calories, completely different arc. One might leave you hunting for snacks an hour later, the other quietly carries you to dinner. That's the kind of timeline editing that shows up when you start shifting what's on your plate. Real-world swaps often reveal this most clearly. Replace a typical breakfast of white toast and jam with rye toast, peanut butter, and berries, and watch what happens to your mid-morning cravings over a week. Or trade a side of fries for a mixed bean salad at lunch, and notice whether you still get that 3 p.m. productivity cliff. Even small, repeated changes stack up. A handful of pistachios instead of crackers here, adding shredded carrot and cabbage into tacos there, choosing popcorn over chips during a movie night. Each tweak nudges your daily intake upward without feeling like a diet. Over time, those extra grams quietly reshape how often you're hungry, how stable your afternoons feel, and how much background noise your body is dealing with after every meal. Soon, your grocery list might look more like a tailored script than a generic template. Specific grains for your sleep, certain pulses for focus, targeted veggies for stress resilience. Think less, eat more plants, and more. Here's the exact mix that steadies your Tuesday. Cafeterias and meal apps could sort options by how they shape your next 4 hours, not just by calories. And kids might learn to program their day by stacking fibers like Lego bricks, each piece small, but the structure unmistakably different. The quiet twist here is that you don't need perfection, you need accumulation. Like small deposits in a savings account, each extra spoon of beans, crunch of apple skin, or swap to a grainier loaf nudges your baseline in a new direction. Your challenge this week? Add 5 grams a day. Then notice not just your digestion, but how your days feel different. This was OwlUp, your daily step forward. To keep learning with structured courses and more insights, go to owlup.co. Until tomorrow!